My wife and I own a fourplex in a small town about 2.5 hours from our house. We make about $1,800 a month on it in cash flow after all expenses are paid. And today I'm going up there to check on it and then also to move a new tenant into the building. So my wife and I bought this building back in 2022 for $230,000. And a lot of people ask, how did we find such a great deal on a fourplex? I used this amazing website called Zillow.com. And what I did is I searched for multifamily properties. And I had a, proximity of 3 hours from our home because that's, the extent of how far we wanted to have to go. Now, the second part to this too, though, that I think a lot of people don't understand is that this is small town Iowa. It's not California, whatever else. So the price of real estate here is significantly less than other parts of the country, and it's easier to make good cash flow on investment properties throughout the Midwest. Now, when we bought this property, we actually put an offer in sight unseen, which means that we did not physically come tour the property with the realtor before we put an offer in, because we knew that because this had just hit the market, there was going to be a good demand for the property because it was at a good price point with rents where cash flow just made sense. So we put an offer in sight unseen with a contingency in that offer that it would be contingent upon an inspection to be completed and no major issues to be found. So when we bought this property 2.5 years ago, all of the rents in each and every unit were all at $600 a month. And since that time, we have slowly increased the rents to get closer to market rent, which is about $800 to $850 per month in this city and surrounding cities for a very similar quality unit. Right now, all of the units are at $750 a month, except for one that will be at $775 as I'm moving somebody into it today. Now, on top of that, though, this building came with a 6-car garage. So there's 6 individual stalls, which you can see here behind me. The 2 units on the end here, though, we rent to somebody else because the units, there's 4 units in the building, so each unit has their own stall, and then 2 units there I rent out for $50 a month, so an extra $100 a month total on top of the rents that we get from this building. Now, although we are bringing in $3,125 a month in rental income, there are quite a few expenses on here as well. Number one is that this building does have a community space. We offer coin-operated washer and dryer. However, we still have to pay the water bill for this and the electric bill as well. Combined, it's about $90 to $100 a month that we pay for water, for the washing machine, and then also electricity for the entire building in this room. However, the benefit to having a coin-operated laundry is that the income that these units produce covers for the most part the expense that we have to pay for those utilities. So one of the biggest monthly expenses that we have is the lawn care and snow removal of this property. This entire huge driveway here, we are responsible to pay somebody to keep clear throughout the winter. And then we also have the stairs and a walkway over here that we pay somebody to clear and keep salt on as well. The lawn is part of that as well. We pay somebody to come out here once every 10 days to mow, trim, and then clean up after themselves as well throughout the summer. And then finally, in our monthly expenses, we also have a community dumpster that we are responsible for paying for. Now, like I mentioned earlier, after our principal, interest, taxes, and insurance are paid, and then all other expenses, we are making about $1,600 to $1,800 a month in actual take-home pay, cash flow, net income, whatever you want to call it. So for a building that we bought for $230,000, I'm pretty happy with that. But you also have to think about the fact that it's not just a single house, it is 4 separate units. And with that, there are 4 separate HVAC systems. So, AC units, furnaces, water heaters, plus you also have, a larger structure too. So I've got, 4 kitchens here. So 4 refrigerators and actually don't have dishwashers, but 4 stoves and other things that can go out that we are liable for as owners of this property. So realistically, we're not making a ton of money after everything is said and done year over year. There really are multiple reasons that I enjoy owning this though. Even if at the end of the year we're not making tons and tons of money on it, this property is appreciating over time. I mean, we bought it for $230K and now it is worth about $300,000. So, we have the aspect of of appreciation, so that's great. And then diversification too. I don't have all of my eggs in one basket on short-term rentals like most short-term rental hosts do, where that's all that they ever invest in. I like oh goodness, I like having, different types of property that that I've got going all at the same time. So this is kind of like my safety net. Our long-term rentals, because we have single-family home long-term rentals as well. Those are, good properties that are solid where it's not as much work. It's a lot more passive. I only come up here maybe twice a year on average. And then those properties I maybe visit once a year for the most part, just to do quality checks, get into the property to do just a furnace inspection, but also kind of to get eyes on the property, make sure that everything's going smoothly, that they're taking care of the property too. But other than that, I maybe get a phone call from a long-term rental tenant, I don't know, on average, like maybe once every 3 months or so, I actually hear something. Where from short-term rentals, it's not as passive. With the right software, it can be more, passive than dealing with all the guest messaging and everything else yourself. But it's still significantly more work. There is a lot more cash flow involved with short-term rentals, but it still ends up being a lot more work. So one thing as well that I feel like is important to touch on here is the fact that when I bought this property, like I mentioned earlier, all of the rents were at $600 a month, and market rent here is about $850. So we're slowly getting to that pace. I think I'll need to do some updates in some of these before I can get it there. But it's something where rent will keep increasing over time. Property value will keep increasing over time. So just something to think about when you're looking, and potentially getting into multi-unit properties. So I'm sure that this is probably going to come up as a question here as well, but like, how did I purchase this property? Did I put 20% down? What kind of loan do I have? So to answer your questions, yes, I did put 20% down. We had actually just flipped a condo down on South Padre Island in Texas and made about $100,000 on that flip in 5 weeks. It was a pretty cool situation, a story for another video, but we had the cash from that, and I ended up moving it into this property and then also a duplex as well. So I had the cash for the down payment, so that was nice. You could utilize like a home equity line of credit on your primary residence for the down payment as well, if you don't just want to save up the cash. But again, it was 20% down on, a $230,000 purchase. So what is that, $46,000? So I know it might seem like a ton of money for some people, for others, maybe not. But for us, it was a significant amount of cash, but we used that for our down payment. We were actually able to qualify for a conventional loan. You can get conventional loans on properties, multi-units up to 4 units. So anything over 4, you would need to utilize like a commercial loan or something like that, but you can actually still do conventional on 4 units or less. So duplex, 3-unit, or 4-plex like we have here. Conventional loan, 30-year fixed rate. I think our current rate on this property is like 4.5%, which is great. So, but yeah, so that's how we ended up purchasing it. So as I wrap up this long-winded video, I think just something I want to leave you guys with is you need to decide, what your goals are for one. Also like risk management and diversification. It's not difficult to get into multi-unit properties. I know that cash flow is getting harder, but you also have the ability to raise rents slowly over time, unit by unit, as you work on it. So it allows you to have more flexibility with that too. And not just have one large property with one unit. It sometimes is nicer to have 4 units in one property to split out the rent, split out the workload, all of those other things too. But I like having long-term rentals, and I will probably always have my long-term rentals, not just invest in short-term, because there is something to be said about having different types of investments and not just having a single income stream coming from one thing specifically, because I don't want to risk having like, COVID happen again or something similar and people are vacationing less. Or what if something happens to my Airbnb account and Airbnb suspends my listings, or whatever, all of these other things. And I'm not saying don't invest based off of the what if, but it is still smart to try to invest in different things and try different things out. Like I'm now looking to potentially do a midterm rental for my next property, and not just keep everything short-term rental based. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, I encourage you to please like and follow. Also leave any comments below. I try to answer as many questions as I can. But anyway, again, my name's Matt. Appreciate you guys following along. Have a good one. Thanks.